Welcome to Greenable Woodbridge. I'm your host, Carolyn Ehrlich. Today we have two very special guests, Dennis Henry, the Director of Woodbridge Public Works, and our Mayor, John E. McCormac. And we're here today to talk about a very special change, and I think one that our residents are really going to love with the way that we pick up bulk waste. And because it's a change, we've been trying to find many different ways to get this message out. And I want to start off by showing you a video that Notorious MAC and his team put together.
Woodbridge Township, we have a public service announcement. Mr. McCormac, let's let him know. Got some stuff that's causing a mess? Just give us a call and we'll put it to rest.
One simple call to Public Works gets you one of Woodbridge's special perks.
Select a day and throw it all out. Our crews will pick it up, without a doubt. The stuff in your basement, garage, or attic will be gone in a day. It's automatic.
The big orange truck will make it disappear. We'll get the job done, you'll have no fear. Get rid of your junk so it won't trouble you.
Cause you know we're the best.
DPW!
We know this town inside and out.
Serving the public is what we're all about.
We'll pick up in Port Reading and Avenel. Have a garage sale and see what you can sell. See Warren, Caseby, Island, and Colonia. We'll get it all done and that's no Bologna. Hope, Lawn, Woodbridge, the Terrace and Forge. Time to dump the stuff that everyone hoards.
You gotta let me know if you like this rap, but wait until you throw out all your crap.
That was fantastic. That was really, really good. And it was a great way to get people to understand that we're picking up the bulk waste differently. What made you decide to do it like this?
Well, we didn't decide. What happened was, you know this, we thought about getting the message out about what we're doing before people got the wrong message. Because you could easily misconstrue this and say we're taking away a service. We're not. We're changing the way we provide a service. So actually it was you who said we got to get on the Facebook pages because people don't care about being wrong on Facebook.
Right.
They'll post anything and they'll be completely and totally wrong and it won't bother them a bit. So you said, and then we agreed, let's get something done and get it out on Facebook. So actually Carol wrote the first line, but you nixed it. The first line was, what did you say? Throw your stuff out when you want to, not when the township says you have to.
Right.
We didn't make this as a rap. We started this as a poem.
Right.
So you wrote the first line. I said, that's a great idea. And then I wrote the rest of it, and you had another line in there somewhere. But
the DPW line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get rid of your junk so it won't trouble you. We got the best DPW. That was your line.
Right.
But you'd nixed the first line because all you could see was people throwing out their stuff whenever they wanted to. And that would not have been good.
Not a good
All of a sudden you're driving around, oh, Mrs. This Bob, throw out her stuff because the mayor said throw it out when you want to.
Right.
So anyway, so we did the poem, and unbeknownst to me, one day she's in the room with Haggerty, and all I hear is laughing and laughing. So I walked in, and the next thing you know, my poem, my beautiful poem, was turned into a rap video.
I walked in a little later.
And then it became a couple of people from Public Works, right? One guy is a DJ or some musically inclined.
Robert Dominguez.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know, I'm in it, and I was going to do the last line, but I wound up doing little scenes of all of it.
Right.
And then we did the walk, and then we did the end. It was fun. It was hilarious. But the good thing is it got the message out.
Absolutely.
People get it. People have emailed me and texted me, love your video. Great, got the message. But what really stinks is I got a 40-minute speech about the Woodbridge, what's going on in town in my state of the township, right? Oh, Mayor, love the video. I did a speech. Love the video. No one ever says, Mayor, your speech was great. It was inspirational. It was motivational. You really said what's going on. I loved your vision.
And there's so much going on.
No, it's, Mayor, loved your video.
And then if you were to ask them, well, what was the message in that video?
They'll know it.
Yep.
But if I said, what did I talk about in my speech? What speech? They don't know.
Yep.
So it's amazing how it all comes down to a 2-minute video instead of a 40-minute, power-packed speech about what's going on in town, and I'm getting great video.
That is good. So explain exactly what the change is.
We're going from, and we usually have, it was a spring cleanup, garage sale, and then the people could put out whatever they didn't sell at the garage sales, or other items they didn't want that they had hanging in the garage or whatever. We started in 2007. It took off. I mean, people had a lot of stuff that over the years, they just didn't know how to get rid of. So, I mean, we went out. At the time, there was a lot of different items that, we were adjusting to it. We'd never done anything like this before. So we had to commit all our different equipment because we had to pick up a lot of stuff. We thought that was just going to be garage stuff that's in the garage. Well, people must have tried to sell their decks because we had decks in front of our house.
The DPW guys didn't like me so much that year.
Well, no, it wasn't bad because it was different. I mean, nobody likes change, but they caught on. I think the first year we picked up 13,000 tons of bulky items, and it was an effort by all the public works divisions. We all worked together because we had to separate everything. And
what do you mean you had to separate everything?
Everything. We'd have a truck go in there to pick up the bulky item. We'd have a metal truck go by and pick up the metal. People were told not to put tires or paint out. We had to have a truck come in and pick up tires and paint. So, a lot of the stuff that we couldn't mix together. And so it was convenient for the residents for us just to come down with a couple of different trucks and pick up the different items and recycle it back at our complex.
And if you remember, 2007, it really didn't snow. I got in November of 2006, and it basically didn't snow that whole winter. So we had the money in the snow budget, and we said, why don't we do something nice, and how about the special pickup? It was actually the idea of John Mitch's wife, Laura. She said one day, this is before the winter even, we should pick everything up one day. Just pick up whatever people want to throw out, just pick it up. So just kept it in the back of my mind, and then when the year of no snow happened, it got to be March, we said, you know what, let's take that idea, see what we can do with it. And it was a huge hit.
Right.
I mean, people loved it. They could throw anything they wanted out, no $30 charge, no calling up, just here's your weekend. Put your stuff out, have a garage sale on the weekend, or not if you don't want to, but then by Wednesday, throw everything you want out and we'll get it. And it was just so well received that we've done it 9 years since.
And over the 9 years, what made you decide that we need to do this differently?
Well, he decided earlier, but it finally took me 9 years to make the decision. Go ahead, you take this one.
Well, some of the problems that we dealt with the way we were doing it. First of all, was every year we would change where we would start because we'd have to start in March, so weather was still unpredictable in that time of year. So we would start one year. We would start on the north end in the Colonia section. And if the weather was bad, they felt that they didn't get the good weather to really put their stuff out or even get a good garage sale. The next year we would start on the south end, which would be Hope Lawn, Caseby, Fords. And the same thing, if they had some bad weather in March, they felt like they weren't getting their share of what they wanted to put out and have a garage sale. So, and then we had the people, the scavengers that came in the beginning wasn't a big problem, but eventually, the word got out, and they could get the calendars. They could see what was our weeks that we were open. So it got to a point where we had guys coming in. They were shuffling through people's garbage. They had that packed out there neatly. When they got done, they were coming in the middle of the night while people were trying to sleep. So there was a lot of things. Then we had people that they figured out that they could bring stuff from other towns that didn't do this.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
And they were putting items out at the curb, and we would go to homes and then tell them that you're not supposed to put paint or tires out, and the residents say, well, that's not my paint, that's not my tires. So and guys that were scavengers actually brought stuff that they had in and dropped it off. We had people dropping off garbage from out of town at vacant homes. So we knew nobody lived there, and we thought the bank might have put it out, but it wasn't. It was coming from out of town, and we started to realize we couldn't get off that number 13,000 tons a year.
Right, and you would think after somebody cleans their attic, they're not going to have to do that kind of a cleanup for another 5 years.
Even if they do their attic one year, their garage the next year, their basement the next year, I mean, at what point do you stop picking up 13,000 tons?
Right.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
So you got Aunt Millie from Milburn throwing her couch out, and Uncle Louie from Louisville throwing his TV out, and it's not our garbage.
Right.
You can't go from 13,000 in 2007 to 13,000 in 2016. A full 10 years later, it can't. How can it still be 13,000 tons?
No, it's crazy.
And one of the biggest items were TVs. I've never realized how many people had how many TVs in their homes. And one of the problems we had were some of the scavengers, they knew that if they took the precious metals out of the TV itself, that that was the only thing that was worth things. So they would take the homeowners' TVs apart in front of their house, pull out the precious metals. Our problem was, but when we picked up the TVs, when we tried to recycle them, the recycling companies would not take them because that was the only place they were making any money, was the precious metals. So that created a problem. Plus, people taking the TVs apart in front of the people's homes became a big problem.
So if you can't recycle it, does it end up in the landfill?
We didn't send any of the TVs to recycling. To the landfill. But the recycling companies that we deal with, they were getting to a point where they didn't want to accept it. They were getting more waste than they were product.
Right.
The other thing too is we skipped. It was from mid-March to say mid-May. We skipped the Easter weekend, but you got people with communion weekends and confirmation weekends, and you got Little League openings and parades, and people were. Plus, it might rain one weekend and they lose the garage sale, and so it was hard for some people. They missed it. They couldn't do it the weekend we assigned them, and you can't do it another weekend because we're going to some other spot in town. So that was a problem for people too. The schedule over 6 or 8 weeks, the weekend you get assigned to just might not work for you.
So we ended up getting complaints, and so we changed it to the new system, which is you call up when you have a pickup.
I think it's going to work out great.
Right.
Because if you need a pickup, we'll do it for free. You can put out what you want, no cans, no paints, and no tires, but put out what you want, and we'll get it. Just call up in advance, and it's free. And it's that sounds like a great way to do it. I'll bet our tons go down by half.
Oh, I would think definitely 1/3 to half. And we're getting a lot of positive feedback. The people, it's more convenient for the people because they know when when they can put it out. They're not forced to stay home from work this week because it's got to be put out this week. They can call us up, and it's more efficient for us. As a public works, our goal is to give the highest level of service at the most reasonable cost. And instead of going out and driving around looking for garbage, we now send our trucks out, and we know where we're going. We know what's going to be out there. And so it helps us manage it. So we achieve our goal of giving the highest level of service, and it's at the most reasonable cost at this point. And over the 10 years, we've recycled over 130 tons, 130,000 tons of bulky items in a 10-year period. So a lot of people, they've got to have, by now, they had to get rid of their stuff.
Right.
So they can start building up, but people are loving it. They can call up, they can get it throughout the year, all year long. So it doesn't have to go by our schedule, because we would have to start early in the spring.
Right.
And like the mayor said, we'd have to be done in a certain period of time, because when the schools got out and people go away and they go on vacation, they're not going to be able to put the stuff out. So we needed to get all of this done in a short period of time. And it put a lot of pressure on our divisions to get it done. This way we can plan and we can save money on fuel, and just the way it's going to be easier to manage, and the people seem to like it a lot more.
And probably a lot less overtime. I hate to say that to the guys who are not making as much money, but probably a lot less overtime too, because you're targeting.
Right.
You need 10 pickups a day. You can schedule 10. Not like before, where if this whole block is like swamped, you're there past 3:30, 4 o'clock, whatever it is. So it's going to save some money too in overtime.
Oh, definitely. We have over the years adjusted it so the cost went down, but this is going to cut it dramatically, because most of it's going to be done on regular time. And it's manageable. When it gets a little heavy, we get into the leaf season and some of our heavier seasons, then we may need to work a little overtime to get caught up on the bulk and the leaves. But we'll work with that. We'll adjust as we go forward with it.
And don't you have a policy that if you have 3 items, you can put them out? How does that work?
4 times a year, if you have 3 or less items, you're able to put those out at the curb. And we're talking, furniture, things like that, bulky items, beds, mattresses, carpeting. So we'll keep a tally and try to keep the people informed, when they're getting to the end of that.
Right.
But most people don't.
Yeah,
the majority of the people
they don't
do
abuse
not
it.
need more than that.
No.
And we noticed during the big bulk pickups, it was the same properties that we were picking up the big major stops all the time. And the other people, they would be out this year, they wouldn't be out. They were out last year, not this year. But the same homes seem like they always had a lot of garbage in front of them. So it's the residents. I think they're going to get the top service with this.
The only question I've gotten is, what about garage sales? Because we used to basically, when it was your weekend, the whole neighborhood, it was their weekend, so you could have like a garage sale. Everybody had the garage sale. Now it's not going to be connected to that, although it doesn't stop you from calling up your neighbors and saying, let's all call for the pickup on May 13th and let's have our garage sales May 9th and 10th.
Right.
Nothing stops them from doing that. You can still always have your own individual garage sale, but if you want the benefit of it all at once, you can get together and you can schedule it and you can put your signs up and you can have a sort of a mini neighborhood garage sale. You won't get the whole ward.
Before we started this, there were lots of streets that everybody on Cleveland and Colonia, they always had one time a year, every house on that street.
You send out a note to your neighbors, say we're doing it this day, bring your stuff out. Because people, I don't shop at garage sales, but people who do like to get the bulk for let's use the same word, but the volume. They want to be able to go to one street and get 6 or 8 spots instead of going to one house on this street and one house on that street. So that's still possible. You can still do group garage sales, or you can have your own, or you don't have to have one.
So it works out perfectly. So thank you, Dennis, for pushing this idea. And you did have to push a little.
It took a while.
Yeah.
No, because you don't want to take away a service.
Right.
But once we became convinced that we're just giving the same service in a different way, then we said, let's give it a shot.
Right.
We were going to do coupons, but you don't really need coupons. Just call us up. We'll get there.
And then they have systems where they can just keep track. So all is good.
And I think the most important thing is the Woodbridge residents are no longer going to pay for outside garbage. Now we get a true number of what bulky items we're recycling. It's going to help us with our sustainable. It's it's going to help us in a lot of ways. And the big thing is we're not taking other people's bulky garbage. And the residents aren't getting hit foot with that bill, because it's $81 a ton for us to get rid of it. So if we can cut that down considerably, then we're going to save a lot of money, and the residents are the ones that are going to benefit from that.
Absolutely.
I mean, Aunt Millie from Millburg can still bring her couch to your house and leave it when it's going to be picked up. You can't stop that, but it won't be easy to do because it's not large scale. It's not the whole block's not going to be covered and you sneak in. But I tell you, it is illegal to bring garbage from out of town to dump it in town. Do we have a hotline for that specifically?
Not for that specifically, but it's police. You just call the police department.
Call the police department if you see it. And bad behavior by neighbors, our best eyes and ears are other neighbors.
Our other neighbors,
that
too.
will call up and but so if anybody sees somebody, pulling up a station wagon and dumping stuff on the curb, that's illegal.
But one of the problems we have are with some of our business people. If they're in the construction business, they would bring their waste to the house.
Oh, I know. I got one guy by me. You can tell. Because no one puts, heavy machine pieces into the garbage.
Right.
Well, we now start looking for, if we have a lot of construction debris, we'll start asking the person for their permitting.
Oh, good
And that
idea.
seems to stop it because they don't have a permit in Woodbridge. Their permit, what they're doing is they may have a residence in Woodbridge, but they're bringing it from their job site into Woodbridge. So that helps us. It helps us at the convenience center. And our convenience, nothing's going to change with our convenience center.
Yeah, talk about
Yeah,
that a
you're going to
little
talk
bit.
about that. That's a great asset.
Yeah, that's one of the things. When we automate it, we knew that we were going to have to find a way for people to get rid of their bulky items and some of the other things that they had laying around. So at the same time, we opened up a convenience center in Public Works, which we're about to expand and make it even better. You can bring in your recycling 7 days a week. We're open from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays from 8 o'clock to 4:30 in the afternoon. We take frying oil, we take engine oil, we take cardboard, we take rigid plastic, we take bulky items, and we have people there that assist if you're elderly. We actually on the weekends now have people, it's almost like a social event for them. And I've actually seen where people were throwing things out and other people liked what they had and they took it and they gave it to them. So that's
called reuse.
That's true. That's true recycling.
Yep.
So the people love it. Our weekends, we probably have between 200 to 400 people on a Saturday can visit our recycling center. And those are ones because the recycling we take in, you don't have to stop and do anything because we benefit from the recycling. The bulk item stuff. So we register about 400 people on a Saturday. That come in there from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
But you check driver's licenses to make sure.
We check to make sure they have to be a resident. They either have to have a driver's license, they can have a tax bill, something with their address on it. We're limited on, we can't take commercial vehicles, we can't take U-Hauls. This convenience center is overseen by the state DEP, and they have regulations. We can't take trucks over 9,000 pounds. And that was something we had to learn about, because in the beginning it was a free-for-all. And I know a lot of people, I've lived in town a long time, so I would see guys I know that are contractors in the convenience center. I would personally talk to them and say, listen, this is what it's not meant to be.
Happening.
But then they would just change the time they would come and try to avoid me. So, but when if somebody had complained that we didn't take construction debris, they actually called the county, and the county contacted state DEP, and the state DEP came actually and made our job easier because they gave us all the regulations, and we were able to tighten everything up. And sometimes we deal with people that are upset because they don't know the rules. They go out and rent a truck, and we tell them just bring it in your passenger vehicle, and we do what we can to help them. And the convenience center has been an unbelievable success, and we don't have people dumping on our streets anymore.
I was going to say that
was a big problem.
When I first came in, there were so many illegal dumping complaints, dozens and dozens, and they've disappeared.
We had one crew out constantly. That's all they did was chase illegal dumping throughout the township. We don't do that anymore. If we get an illegal dump, we may get one a month, if that, and it's less than that. We used to get it 5, 10 of them a week.
Right. If you're going to dump, you might as well go to the convenience center.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what they do. And people just don't know what to do with their garbage all the time. And they have to make room for the new stuff. So they may say, and a lot of guys come in, they do contract work on the side, and they'll tell a homeowner that they're going to get rid of the stuff for them, and what they would do is lay it on the side of the road. We've been able to trace some of the stuff back to the owners, and we've caught the people that did it. But now they just tell the homeowners, listen, if it's you're doing the work yourself or you have a family helping you, the homeowner can just bring it down to the convenience center.
Yeah, we're not stopping them.
Right, and
it's the contractor we're stopping, because when they do a bid for you, that bid includes removal.
Exactly.
So you might as well get them to remove it. That's what they're being paid for.
And they have to pay for the disposal. Ours is free, so we shouldn't. The residents of Woodbridge shouldn't be paying for disposal when a contractor does the work. That's part of his
Clearly.
profit.
Yeah.
So what he does by saying that if you get rid of it, he's making more money. You let them get rid of it, and if you have stuff you want to bring down to our convenience center, you're more than welcome.
Great. Well, Mayor, you were saying, how are we going to talk for 26 minutes? Well, we have 1 minute left.
Really?
Yes.
How'd that happen?
So I have to make sure that we mention the My Waste app, which if you get the app, you'll always know when you're getting picked up, what day, if it's changed because of snow or holidays or whatever. Just hit the app and you have all the information you need. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you go on there. You can ask questions. If you're not sure, it'll answer all your questions. You go on the website, or if you have a smartphone, you can go in there and and if you have elderly people and they're lucky they can operate a smartphone, you can put it into their phone. So all they have to do is hit on it,
right?
And they can see that it shows it's garbage, or it's recycling, or it's Christmas trees, or it's leaves. It's actually a lot of people are using it. And that's been very successful.
Don't go by what I put out, because it's always wrong. It's always wrong.
I know there's that one story where Dennis had to send a special trunk out because you put it out on the wrong day in your whole street.
The mayor's got his green can out. Why can't I put my green can out? Because the mayor screwed up.
I've done the same thing, and everybody puts their cans out, and I quietly put mine back.
Yeah, don't think we know any better.
Right, and I certainly do. As I'm driving home, I'm looking at what my neighbors have out there to know what to do. So one last question: how does it feel to be known as Notorious MAC?
I'm prefer to be known more as a singer-songwriter.
Oh, not a rapper?
That's just a nickname that somebody in TV 35 gave to me. I'm more than a rapper. I am a singer-songwriter. I can pretty much do it all.
I'd like to call you a Renaissance man.
Right, that's a good nickname. But seriously, I want to thank Dennis, because we have without a doubt the best public works department in the state of New Jersey. I just can't see. I say in my speech that I love driving around in snow. We're down to blacktop. You see our border towns got ice and snow everywhere. They don't do what we do for the convenience center. They don't do the special pickups. They don't have the services. They don't have we have guys doing so many different projects. Demolition and building and you name it. They're really becoming very multifaceted, and they love it. We have the best DPW literally in the state of New Jersey. And
it's not just that, but when we have our special events, tooling, National Public Lands Day, they're a part of it. They feel the passion for the town because they're residents. That everybody who lives here feels, and they just want to make it a better town. The concerts, when the Civil War needs to break down at 3 and be out of there by 5 for the show, you got 5 DPW guys out there helping them out. It's great and wonderful. Terrific. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Mayor, Dennis, it's been a great show. And thank you for watching Greenable Woodbridge and being part of the excitement and part of the change.